Yes, I'm on back. I don't know what went wrong, but something went wrong. So let me see if I can get you to join me back. It say poor network connection. I don't know why it says that, but something was not right. So let me see if I can get back anyone. Yeah, so as I was saying that we need some measurement for this step that we will do. Right? Something went wrong with my network, so that's why I had to go off and command back, because it's saying something went wrong with the network. So my I get a little poor network. So right, so you guys seeing me now. Nice to know that you guys seeing me. So as I was saying, today in this video I'm going to show you how to sew a simple bodice, right? Because I get lots of requests for that, and we will do that today. I get lots of requests for sew a lot of things, but today I'm going to show you how to sew a simple bodice. And as I was saying, you need I'm using a piece of sheeting. You're going to need some measurement. You're going to need some pins. Let me just, because my video go off, so I didn't get to finish what I was saying. So you will need a ruler to do this, measuring tape. You will need some chalk, a fabric scissors. You will need some pins. You will need your measurement and a piece of fabric. As I said, if you're a plus size, if you're doing the 45 inches polyester, 1.5 yards to 2 yards of polyester, depend on how fitted or how wide you want your top to be, right? If it's a 45 inches polyester, you will need like 2 yards of that, because 45 inches polyester is just a narrow fabric that didn't have much width. If you're using the sheeting, just a yard will do, like I'm using the sheeting here. I have a little piece left, and that's what I am using. So let's get into drafting this stuff. So you will need some measurements. So I have my mannequin here, which I pad to suit my body. So if you have a mannequin and you buy it and it's a little too small, you can pad it up to suit your body. So, and that's what I did with this. So anything that fit this mannequin, just how it fit the mannequin, it would fit me, right? So I pad it to fit my body structure. As you guys know, I have a big butt, so this mannequin is not in my range, so I have to fix my own. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take some measurements. So the first measurement we need, now don't use this measurement, use your measurement, because if you use this measurement, well, then your clothes can't fit. So the first thing we're gonna do, you get your measuring tape, and we need this bust measurement. We need this bust measurement. So you get your measuring tape and you put it around your bust. You put it around your bust like that. Don't let the measuring tape drop down in the back. You need to get the measure. See how I have my measuring tape up here? Don't let it drop down like this in the back. When you're measuring, don't let your measuring tape be like this. Let me show you. When you're measuring yourself, make sure your measuring tape is like this. Make sure it's straight in the back. Don't let it droop down like that, because you won't get the measurement you need. So you get your measuring tape and you measure your bust. Let me remove the chain for now. You measure around the fullest part of your bust. Now, forget the righted bust measurement. You need to put on a proper bra. Put on a proper bra, the one that you are wearing with the top you are making, so that the top can fit properly. You go and get a proper bra, put it on, and you would get a form fit. So you need the measurement. Now don't work with the measurement that I am calling, work with your measurement. So this bust measurement is 37. I will work with 37 for this bust measurement. Now you will divide that by 4, right? You would need your waist measurement. Now if you don't know which part your waist is, all you have to do, I don't know, every different people shape different, right? Some would be square, some would have a nice shape, and so if you don't know your measurement, all you have to do is get a piece of elastic. Let me just get a piece of elastic for you. Let me see if I have a piece of elastic here, a long enough piece. All you have to do, get a piece of elastic, tie it around your waist like this. Tie it around your waist like this. Like that. And that elastic will roll to your natural waistline. So wherever that elastic roll, that's where your natural waistline is, because if you look at me, the elastic roll down to my natural waistline. So when I do like this, it have a sink here. So right where that sink is, that's where your natural waistline will be. So get a piece of elastic and tie it on your natural waistline, and wherever the elastic roll, that it will be. So on this mannequin, I'm going to tie a piece of elastic here. Let me just turn around. I'm going to tie this piece of elastic by my natural waistline. So this is where my natural waistline is. Some people say your waistline is at your belly button. Not everybody waistline is there. The only way your waistline could be by your belly button is maybe if you have maybe a big bust or something, but not everybody waist is by the belly button, because my waist is not by my belly button. So my waist is more high up, like under my bust, so a little maybe about 4 to 5 inches down from my bust. So this is where my waist is, so you will need that waist measurement. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm working with a 34 inches waist measurement, and I'm going to divide that by 4. The next thing you need is the hip measurement. Now, some people, everybody measure different, right? And I showing you how I learn, because that's the best way for me, and I find that's the best way. Everybody learn different, right? So I'm going to get a next piece of elastic. And this is my natural hip line, right? Some people hip line could be lower, it could be higher. It all depends upon your height, right? So I am short, so my hip measurement would be different. So I'm going to work with this hip measurement. And I'm working with a 46 hip measurement. My this iPad is a little bigger than my hip measurement, because I don't like my clothes tight, right? My hip measurement is like 44, but I always give it 2 inches extra just in case, so I can get room to move. I don't like always to be pulling down my skirt when I walk in. I like my skirt to be free. If I'm making a jeans, I like my jeans tight, but my skirt, I like it to be free. So I will work with a 46 hip measurement for that, and I will divide that by 4, right? The next measurement you will need this measurement. This is from your shoulder here to right under the shoulder bone, where you have that shoulder bone there. So you need this measurement. So you need this like that. So this would be 4, right, from the shoulder to here, but I always put ½ inch more to make it 4.5, so I can stitch the sleeve on or stitch it in when I ready. So I would work with this with a 4.5. This could be bigger for you. This shoulder width could be bigger. The standard measurement is 5, right? That's the standard what the industry does use is 5 is the standard measurement. Now the next measurement you would need is between here, right? Is this measurement right here. This is above the bust. This top that they make, if they don't get this top here, Your bust alone can't fit this top because sometimes hair smaller, sometimes hair bigger, or it could be the same, depends on how you shape. So you need round this measurement here, so, and you divide that measurement by 4, right? Or if you want, you could divide it by 2 by just taking it like from one armpit to the next armpit, and whatever measurement you get from these 2 armpit, you divide that by 4. The next measurement you will need the, so that you can go in the top. So always take your measuring tape. Don't pull the measuring tape. Let it lie flat. And you measure around your neck. Right? We'll measure around your neck. We won't use all that measurement for that. We will just use maybe quarter of that measurement. So that is the measurement you need. The next one you will need, you need the measurement between here to here. You must get this measurement between here, because if you don't get that measurement between there, you won't know where your hip deck fall. So you must get that measurement from right here to here, right? So the standard hip measurement is 9. Your own could be vary, your own could be 6, it could be 7, right? But the standard measurement is 8 to 9, right? So I would go with the 9, but the 9 gonna be too long for me. My own is like 8, but I would go with the 9 because of my butt. I don't want my skirt to cocking up in the air. You never notice people who have big butt and the back of the skirt always up in the air and the front low, is because the back of your back a little shorter than your front, right? So sometimes when they make the skirt, you have to lengthen the back so that it could come and sit down instead than it cock up like that. Is because it didn't get enough fabric. So once you have a big butt, your back or your skirt have to be more longer than your front. So you will need that, and then you will need however long you want this top. So you can make it up however long. For me, I going right down because I want it to wear with a skirt or anything. I don't just want it by the waist, because putting it by the waist, it would be too short. All your stomach would be outside. So I need that measurement, and I'm going to measure over my bust. So I'm going to come down to the last elastic, and that would be 24 inches, and I'm going to add 1 is 25. Now we have to calculate these measurements, right? Now the first measurement I'm going to calculate is the bust measurement. So let me rest this chain on back, and I'm going to get my fabric. As I said, I'm using a little piece of sheeting that I have here. The sheeting wide enough. I would do it on the fabric for you guys. I could do it on paper, but today I choose to do it on the fabric. Right? So I get this fabric here. And this fabric is a pretty wide fabric. It's a little piece, but it have enough width for me. Fold it like this, and then I'm going to fold this fabric in half. I'm going to fold that in half, like that. Just make sure your fabric neat and nice. I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to fold that in half. And now I'm going to just draw a guideline. I'm just drawing a guideline. Let me see if I can get a marker where you guys can see. I'm going to just draw a guideline on this fabric. So I'm just drawing a guideline. So this is just a guideline here. So I'm going to come down 1 inches from this guideline that I am drawing here. I'm going to come down 1 inches. So I'm going to come down 1 inch from that guideline. So I come down 1 inch from the guideline. Remember, I just draw the guideline, so I come down 1 inch. That's the second line. So from this line here, so now this line would become my shoulder line, right? This would come my shoulder line. Well, and we need to get that shoulder measurement. While it's drafting, I'm going to do back the measurement for you so you can understand. So we need to get this measurement from here to here. There's a span between your neck, like how I have on this top. For it fit my shoulder, we need to get the neck span. So I'm going to turn her around. And you have a shoulder bone right here. So from shoulder bone to shoulder bone, make sure it come over your neck to the other shoulder bone. And whatever measurement you get, divide that by 2. So I get 15 for this across shoulder. So I'm going to take half of that and I get 7.5. So onto the second line, the 1-inch line that I measured down from the guideline, right? I'm going to put 7.5 inches on that second line. This first line is just a guideline. The second line is the shoulder line. So I'm going to put 7.5 inches on that line. And I'm going to put a mark. So that become my shoulder line. From that shoulder line measurement, I need the measurement. Let me get a piece of tape again for you, so you guys, I just want you guys to understand something. Everybody measure different, but I teaching you how I learn. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to tie this here. I'm going to tie this up here. So I need this span here. Right now I need this span here. I need this from here to see what I get. So this is the bust, right? So you need half of this 2 measurement here so that you can get the exact measurement for get the span. So for me, this is it. So from here to here and you measure down, I get 5. That is under the bust. Then you come down to the waist, right? So you come down to the waist. So you need half of your bust measurement for get this measure between these 2 measurements here. So for me, my bust span from here to the bust would be 10 inches. Because if I measure from my shoulder, like from here to my bust here, right here, it would be 10 inches, right? Let me put an XPC elastic for you so you guys can see everything. Raise this up a little. Drafting, you need a lot of measurement for that. You can't just draft something just like that. So all these elastic, it have to do with something, right? So this is the bust. So from here, from your shoulder, you're taking from your shoulder to this first elastic. I need that measurement from the shoulder to this first elastic, right? And this is 5. So I would take 5. We are not dividing anything. So I would take the measurement from here to this elastic is 5 inches. So I need to measure down 5 inches from the shoulder line. There's the second line. So I need to get my measuring tape and I need to measure down 5 inches. And I'm going to connect those lines. I'm going to connect that line. So now I get the span between here and here. So now I need the span between from my shoulder to my bust to this elastic, because I already get this as a 5 inches. So now I need from my shoulder to this elastic. So I'm going to measure from my shoulder to this elastic is 10. So I need to measure down 10 inches from the second line we draw, right? So this is the second line. This become my shoulder line. I need to measure down 10 inches to get to my bust. So from the second line, I'm going to measure down 10 inches. So I'm going to go down 10 inches. And I'm going to connect that line. So this here become my bust line. So you have your shoulder line, your across front line, you have your bust line. Now we need the waist. We need the length from the shoulder to the waist. So I have my waist measurement here, my waistline here, because this is my across front, this is my bust, this is my waist. So now I need the length from the shoulder to the waist. I'm going to put that across there. And this is 15.5, but I would make my waist 16 because I don't want my top to be pulling up in front, especially if you have a little bust. Always put the front of your top. If you bust, you have a large bust, always put the front of your top longer. Give it more measurement so that your top won't always be pulling up in the front and you always have to be pulling down. So I would make my measurement from my shoulder to my waist. I would make it 16 inches. So I'll make it 16 inches. So from my shoulder line, I'm going to measure down 16 inches. I'm going to measure down 16 inches. And I'm going to connect those lines. So now I have my waistline. Now I need my hip depth, right? The hip depth is the length from your waist to where this last elastic here, like from your waist here to the widest, the fullest part of your hip. I need that. So that's how come this width here come in. Because you need between from your waist to your hip. So I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure from the bottom of the elastic here. I'm not going from the top. I'm going from the bottom of the elastic. I'm going to measure down like that. And I'm going to take the bottom of this last elastic here. I'm measuring to the bottom and I would go with 9 inches down from the bottom of the elastic by my waist. So on my waistline, I need to measure from that, go down 9 inches. So on my waistline, I'm going to measure down 9 inches. And I'm going to connect that line. So that's my hip measurement come here, right? That's the width between here and here. This become my hip line. Now, it depends on how long you want your top. You could add 1.5 inches, right? You get your measuring tape, you add 1.5 inches from the hip line down, so that would become your hemline, right? 1.5 inches down from the hip line would become your hemline. I don't want my top too long, so I won't be putting any more measurement there. My the 9 inches from my waistline to my hip line, I would take out 1 inch from that, and that would become my hemline. So when I hem it up, my top would be, the hip measurement would be 8, which would be good for me. So the length of my top would be 25, would be 24 inches when I finish, and that's good enough for me. I don't want it longer than that. So I won't be adding any hem allowance to that top because the 9 inches that I measure down would be enough for me, for my top. So I need that. If you want, you can go ahead and put a hem allowance. You could put 1 inches to the last line that we draw. So now we have all these lines here connected. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. The first line that we draw, that's just a guideline. We are not using the first line. We're using from the second line come down to the rest of the line. So now what we need to do here, we need to calculate these measurements. So I am working with a 34 inches, a 37 inches bust measurement, and I would divide that by 4. So 37 divided by 4 is 9.25, right? And then plus I will add ½ inch to that, which would give me 9.75. The reason why I add ½ inch, that would be my stitching line. If you don't add like stitch like ease to that and seam allowance to that, that top would be tight, right? And since I want my top a little loose, I'm going to add some inches to that. So 37 divided by 4, 9.25. ½ inch is 9.75, right? So 9.75, that's good enough for me. That is for my bust. So I'm going to look for 9.75 on my tape, and I'm going to put it on the bust line. We need this. This is the bust line. This is the across front line. But before we move to the bust line, let me just do it in step by step so you guys can understand. So this is the across front. We need half of this across front here, right? So this across front is 14 inches. The across front is 14. I need half of this. I need from here to here. I need half of that. Where my measuring tape is, the center is like this. I need it right here, right? I need half of that. So when I measure here, I need just the center, half of this measurement here. And half of that for me is 7 inches. So on the across front, I'm going to put 7 inches down there. So I'm going to mark 7 inches. And I put it on the across front line. Now the bust, we go back to the bust 37 divided by 4, 9 1/4 plus ½ inch is 9 3/4. So I'll find 9 3/4 on my tape and I would put it on this bust line. So I need 9 3/4. So the seam allowance already in here, because the ½ inch is the seam allowance. Now for the waist, we have to calculate the waist measurement. Our waist measurement is 34, right? 34 divided by 4 is 8 1/2, right? We're going to add 2 inches to that measurement. The reason why, that would accommodate for the seam allowance, it would accommodate for the dart, right? And a little ease, so you can move in your top, because you must add it to that measurement. So 34 divided by 4 is 8 1/2 plus 2 inches. We're going to get 10 1/2. So on my waistline, I need to look for 10 on my measuring tape and I need to measure that out. 10 1/2. So 10 1/2 on my measuring tape and I would measure that out. And I would put that marking on the waistline. Now on the hip, we are not adding too much to the hip, right? Because remember, the hip have a lot of measurement already. We're not adding too much to the hip. So they need the hip measurement. There's the fullest part of the hip, right away around. And we dividing that by 4 and we adding ½ inch only to that. So on the hip measurement line, which is this line, the last line that we draw, I will look for the measurement. So 46 divided by 4 is 11 1/2 plus ½ inch is 12. So I look for 12 on my measuring tape and I'll put it on the hip line. If you add in like the hem allowance, I am not adding hem allowance because 24 is good enough for me. When I fold up one, I will left with 23 inches for the top, and that's good enough for me. So on my hip line, I will look for 12 because 46 divided by 4 is 11 1/2 plus ½ inch is 12, right? So I look for 12 on my measuring tape and I would measure 12. And I'll put a mark right here on the hip line. Now if you're going down 2 inches to 1 1/2 inches for the hem, use the last measurement that we just used here and put it on the hem allowance line so it could come back and connect. Now, from the shoulder line, which is this measurement here, on the shoulder line, we need to come down 1 inch, right? So we come down 1 inch from the shoulder line, and you put a mark, 1 inch. There, right on by 1 inch down from the shoulder line, we put a mark there. Now you need to, depends on how wide you need your neck to be. If you put in elastic, if you're doing a zipper, if you're, well, in this case, we just doing an ordinary top, right? So from that line now, we need to get this line here. We need to get this shoulder width here. So from that line, remember, it's 7 1/2 inches I measure out there. So from the 1 inch that I measure, I need to measure it to see if I get 7 1/2 inches to the end of the paper. And I gone too much, so I need to come back and I need to bring in the 1 inch that I measure down. So from that line now, you have to get this width of this shoulder here now. So the width that I'm working with is 4 1/2 inches. So from the 1 inch line, I'm going to measure 4.5 inches. The 1 inch that I measured down, 4.5 inches. And I'm going to put a mark right on the shoulder line. And I'm going to connect that, and that will become my shoulder. So I'm going to connect that line. So this line become my shoulder line right here. Now, I need my neck, or way around my neck here. Right? It depends on how long you want your neck, your neck drop to be. You can make it how long you want. I have the elastic, this chain here. You can cut it how low you want, right? So for me, I only need my own. I need it to be 6 inches down. So I'll take my tape and I would measure. The reason why I doing it 6 inches down, I don't want it all here in the bottom, and then when I'm done, I have to look for a tube to wear the top. If you want, you can do it right down. You can cut it low down to your waist, but you have to wear it on the top with that. So I would make my own 6 inches. That is above my bust, so my bust won't show. So I'd come down from the shoulder line. I'd come down 6 inches down. And I'd put a mark right there. Now, we need to connect these lines to make up this top. So I would get my curve rule, and I'm going to place this here. From the 1 inch line that I measure down, which become my shoulder line, I'm going to place this like this. And I'm going to attach these lines. Make sure all the lines them touching each other, or else your top won't come out properly. Make sure it's touching. And I'm going to connect. So I get my armhole. Now, the next measurement I need is to connect from my armhole, from my bust to my waist. Now, your bust to your waist, some people shape different, right? Some seamstress, when they're sewing for you, and that's a thing I really don't like, because I just say, even if you don't have shape, I find they can shape you, right? And me, I have shape, so I cannot make my clothes square because I have shape. I have to get the curve, just as how this mannequin curve, I pad it to suit me, so I have to get the curve of that. So I find some seamstress, even though you're in half shape, they could shape you, right? I find some of them just wicked enough to make them clothes square, all because you're square. So I have this 3-in-1 ruler here. This is the armhole, this is the hip curve, and this is a straight. Now I want to curve from my bust to my waist. I will curve it because I have a curve. If you look at me, I am not square, I have a curve. So I'm going to take this end of this ruler here, and I'm going to place it like that and give myself a curve, because I am not square. And I'm going to curve that. Now, I need to connect from my waist to my hip. Now, I will use this curve rule, and I'm using this section of the curve rule. So I will connect that. And I connect my top. Now, all we need to do now is to make the neck area. So since I measured down 6 inches, I will take my rule and just make a guideline to the 6 inches I measured down. And then I would get this curve rule, and I would make the neck. So I will place it like this. Go to the shoulder line, swing your ruler like that. And I'm going to connect that line. So I get my front to my top. Now, I don't need to redraw this. So I'm going to use the front to cut out the back. I'm going to show you how. Now remember, the front neckline lower is 6 inches down. I don't need my back to be 6 inches down. I only need my back to be 1 inch down from my shoulder line. So I look for 1 inch on my measuring tape, and on the shoulder line, I will measure down 1 inch. Measure down 1 inch. And now I will take my curve rule. Instead of using it this way, I use it this way for the front. I will use it this way for the back. So I'll just place it right on the shoulder line, and I will connect those lines. So I get my back and I get my front. So now we need to add seam allowance to the shoulder line. So I have a 2-inch ruler here that have 1/2 inch and 1 inch on it. So I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to put a 1/2 inch stitching line on the shoulder line. That will become my seam line. And I will use that and add 1/2 inch to the shoulder line, so I can get my stitching line. So that would be my cutting line. Now for the dart, you need to get a span from between your bust here, right? It depends on the width between one bust nipple to the next bust nipple, right? So for me, I'm going to measure that. So feel apart the nipple of your buses and measure from one of the nipple to the other one. So for me, I'm going to put that here. And I get 7, right? I get 7 inches. Now, I need half of that, right? For this bust measurement. But I would do it like 4 inches. So the bust span from here is 7. I would make it 8 because I don't want here too tight. So I would add an extra inch to that. So I would make my bust span 8. So you get your measuring tape from one nipple to the next and you measure. And whatever measurement you get, you divide that in half. So I need 4 inches from that 8, right? So from the bust here, we're gonna measure down 1 inches. Now get your 4 inches on your measuring tape, and from the end of the top, you're gonna measure from here, measuring your 4 inches in. You make a mark on the bust line, go to your waistline, measure the 4 inches in, and you make a mark 4 inches in. Now from the bust line, we're going to measure down 1 inch from the bust line because we don't want our dart to come up and meet right by our bust nipple. We want it to end under the bust. So I'm going to measure down 1 inches from my bust line. 1 inches down from my bust line. I'm going to put a mark there. Now for the dart, I need my dart, the front of my top. I need my dart from the 1 inch that I measured down. I need my dart to be like 8 inches down. So I will do it from the 1 inch line that I measured down. From under the bust, we're going to measure down 8 inches down, right? You can go 9 if you want, but you don't want the hip to be too tight. So 8 inches, I will go down 9 inches for safety. So I'll put a mark, 9 inches. And now on the waistline, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch on each side for this dart. So I'm going to get my measuring tape, and I'm going to measure 1/2 inch on each side for this line. On the waistline, we're doing it. So 1/2 inch there, and 1/2 inch here. And now I'm going to get my ruler. I'm going to connect, make a straight line, a guideline. And now I'm going to connect these lines. So I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to connect from one line. You're making something like a V like. So you're going to connect to the 1 inch line that we measured down. You're going to connect the other 1/2 inch to the 1 inch line. Then you're going to come and you're going to connect to the bottom of the 8 inch, the 9 inch line that we draw. You're going to come and you're going to connect there. And you're going to connect the next side. And here you have your dart for your top. You have that. Now if you're doing a side dart, which I'm not doing the side dart, you have to go down like 1.5 inches from the shoulder. From under the bust line, you go down like 1 to 1.5 inches. And then you measure up from that line. You measure up like 5 inches to meet the other dart. The two darts won't be jamming. It would be separate. It would be far apart from each other, but not too far. You could just measure up to that, and you measure 1/2 inch each on each side like we do the one, and you connect that. But we are not doing the side dart. So with this stop here, I'm finished drafting this stop. All I have to do is cut it out now. Right? So my own is on a fold. So when I open it, it would be a hole, the front of the top I would get. So I'm cutting it out now. I don't need any seam allowance in this because I add seam allowance to it already. And I cut in on the seam line that I put, the seam allowance line. And now I'm going to cut out the back. I'm not cutting out the front yet because I have to use the back to get the front. So this is what your top would look like. You put it on the mannequin. This is the back of the top. This is not the front. I'm just spinning it to show you. This is what it would look like. So when you stitch up, you would get your top. Right? This is what it would look like. So now you need to transfer the marking from you need to transfer the dart from the right side to the wrong side of the top. Right? But let's cut out the front of the top first. So I get my other piece of fabric. And I'm going to fold it in half the same way. I'm going to fold it in half. Like that. And I'm going to take the back of the top and I'm going to put it onto the front. Now my own is cutting on a fold. It's cut on a fold. I put it back on the front. Now I'm going to get my tracing wheel and I'm going to get my tracing paper and I'm going to trace out the front of the top. So I'm going to place my tracing paper under the front. Make sure everything line up. And I'm going to trace out my front of my top. I'm going to remove this. So now I get my front line mark out right here. So I'm going to cut out this, the front of the top. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to cut that out. So I use the back to cut the front. Now when I reach to the neckline now, I'm going to move the back or the top. So I move that and I'm going to cut the front because remember I have my neckline out already. So I get my front. Now I'm going to use the back to do the same thing for the darts. So I get my front. Make sure the shoulder, the armhole them match up. Make sure the 4 armhole match together. Get a pin and pin it. Once the armhole match up, that's okay. You get your tracing paper now. Start with the tracing paper. Get your tracing paper. Fold it like this. Put it under the front of the top, the back of the top, sorry. Putting it under the back of the top. So we're gonna trace this dart to the wrong side of the top. Get your tracing wheel and you're tracing the dart. So my dart transfer to my top. So I'm going to show you just now what it look like. So now I need the dart onto the back of the top now. So I'm going to lift the front, lift the back, open up the back, place the tracing paper underneath the top, lay down back the front where I can connect back that dart. So I'm going to trace the paper, the dart now back onto the back, the back of the top. So I have my dart connected. So let me show you now what it look like. So this is my two dart here for the front, for the back. And this is my two dart for the front of the top. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pin these dart in place. You get some pins. You get some pin, you put your dart together, right? We need to match up these dart lines. So we have 3 lines here, right? We have 3 lines on this dart here. Don't know if you guys can see the 3 lines, the one in the middle. We need to match the 2 at the end up. The 2 end dart we need to match up, not the middle one, the 2 ends one. So you grab your fabric, look for the next side. Take your pins, insert it on one side, and look for the other marking, the other end on the other side, and pin that through and bring it back through the marking at the end on the next side. So that's how you pin your dart. The 2 outer line is what we pin in together. So you pin through and you pin it back. You pin. Look for the outer line. Sometimes you have to move the fabric to match up with the line. Come, you look and you pin it back. You pin. Sometimes you have to move the fabric to match with the line. You pin. Look for the other outer line. You pin in one outer line and you look for the other outer line. Not the middle line. We are not matching up the middle line. It's a 2 end line. So you keep pinning. Look, you have to look. You just can't pin while. So when you finish pinning, it would look like this. The outer part would look like that. So that's what your dart would look like. Now let's continue pinning the rest. Pinning it. Make sure you pin it properly. And the reason why they put dart in the top is to shape the fabric. Because some people with curve, you need to put dart in the clothing. For me, my back of my top must get dart, and I will show you why. And it must get a split in the back. Because my back kind of different to my front. So you pin. You pin. So this is the front of the top, and it would look like this. Let me just show you. Let me take this chain off. The front of the top would be like this. Let me just pin that. So when you pull, this would be your top. You see how nice the dart bring it in? And that's why I shape the top, because I don't want my top too square. I want it to shape. So this is what the top would do. When you put it on, this is what it would look like, neat and nice. And you see our dart dropping right under the bust. You don't want the dart up onto the bust nipple. That would make the top too tight. So you need it like 1 inch down from the under bust. So that's why I tell you measure down 1 inch from the bust line. So, and 4 inches out, right? Your bust span sometimes could be different. Sometimes your bust span could be 9, it could be 10, whatever is it, divide that measurement in 2 and you get your dart from the center or the top. So you measure like from here. Let's say your bust span is 12 inches. So we need half of that 12 inches. So that would be 6 inches would land right in the middle. So that's how you get the bust dart. Now this is, since this is the front, we're going to pin the back dart in place. So you pin your back, get your back dart. And you pin it in place the same way. But some people back does be different, because even though I put this dart in the back of my top, I still have to go and take in a lot in the back, because I have my back kind of shorter than my front. I'm going to show you all that just now when we stitch the top together, how much I just have to take in the back. So my back sometimes, my back or my top sometimes have to got like 2 darts in the back to make it fit properly because of the shape of my back. So we're going to pin this. Pin it. Just make sure you look for the other line over the next side so that your dart could match up properly. You pin. We're going to pin the next one. Pin. Keep pinning. Look over the next side. Make sure you get all the line match up. Pin. Keep pinning your dart. I like to use a lot of pin because I know when I finish my clothes would look good. So this, what the back would look like. So that's the front. This the back. So when you pull that back, you see you have a nice shape in the back of the top. So this is what the back would look like. So we're going to take this off. We're going to take this off. We're going to rest this aside like that. So this is what it would look like. So this is the back. And let's stitch these darts now in place. So I have my machine here. I have my sewing machine here that we're going to stitch in place. I'm going to stitch this in place. I'm going to put my sewing machine on. I'm going to remove my measuring tape. Let me just get something here. Forget a little height for this sewing machine. Rest that there. So this is my sewing machine, and my sewing machine is on a regular stitch, right? I have it on 6. It says my machine, the straight stitch is 6, and I have it on 4. That is the normal stitch I have it on. Sometimes your machine, you don't even have to move it. Now I'm using a different color thread. The reason why is for y'all see what I am doing. So I'm going to get one dart, and from the first pin, that is the end of the pin here, right? You put it under your sewing machine, right? You put it. I will reply to y'all after the video. Put it under your sewing machine, and the first thing you do, you have to put your needle down in that you have to put your needle down in the fabric first before you remove your pins. So I'll place my needle down. Hold your thread. Place my needle down like this. Take my pins out. And I would stitch the dart. Now I am not back stitching on the beginning of the dart because I don't need, you never notice when somebody sew something for you, or if you purchase a top. At the dart it have this kind of point. I don't need that point, so I'm not back stitching on the beginning of the dart. I will leave a long string where I can tie the dart off and it would make it more neat. So you start sewing. I take out my pins. When you meet at the bottom of the dart, don't back stitch either. So I will leave a long thread like that. Press this aside and I would tie this dart off. I'll get a pin. I don't need that point at the bottom of my top nor at the top of my top. I like my clothes neat. So I would get a pin. I would open out the two thread, the bobbin thread and the the needle thread. So I'm going to open out that. Let me just open out that thread. You get a pin and you open out the two thread that stitch together. Open it out. It will take a little time, but eventually you'll get it because remember it's two thread stitch together. So let me just open that out like this. Open that out. It will take a little time because remember the thread stitch up together. So you open it out like that. Look for where it lock. Now you're opening out. Let me see if I get the next one, because this one I could always do that later. The next one in lock. So I will open that out like that. And now I'm going to tie off this dart. I'm going to tie it. You tie it off like that. You give it about 3 to 4 knots so that it won't loose. So your dart won't have the point. It would be very smooth and nice. So I tie that off and now I clip my thread. So you see how neat this come? Look at that. You see that? You ain't have no point. The dart very smooth and it sit down very nice. So that's what you want for the top and the bottom. The bottom one I'll tie it a little later because the thread kind of knot up, but you want that. This is the effect you need to get. This look here. Right? So we'll stitch the rest of that in place. We'll stitch that in place. Get your dart. And remember, I'm not back stitching any dart. I need my dart to be neat and smooth. Place it on your sewing machine. Put your needle down first before you remove the first pin. Drop your pressure foot. And now we're going to sew. When you reach the end of the dart, don't back stitch. Leave a long thread. Lift your pressure foot and you leave a long thread. We're going to rest that down and we're going to tie that later. Get the front of the top now. We're doing the same thing. Don't back stitch on your dart. Rest your needle down. Pull your first pins out. And be stitching. pull your thread, leave a long tail, and you rest this down. You get the next one, do the same thing. Put your needle down, pull out the 4 spin. Let me just remove this bobbin. My needle kind of stuck. So let me start that over. Pull out this thread. My fabric bite into the machine, so that's why you see me pull it out. So you need to remove back the thread. If it happened to you, remove the thread, because you don't want it to get the point. So you remove the thread and you go back again. Remove your pins. Stitch. And we leave a tail. So we leave in a tail and we tie in that off. So we will move this machine aside for now. Get your dart, open it. Look for the tail, for the string. And we tie in both top and bottom. So get your string there, your thread, the bobbin thread and the needle thread, and we're gonna tie. I will tie mine like 3 to 4 times. I will tie my own 3 to 4 times. And I tie that. I cut my thread off. Get the bottom one, do the same thing. The bottom one that's kind of knot up, so you have to unloose it like, and you tie. You're tying that off. I don't like my dart to have a pint or a sink. Tie that, cut it, do the same thing to this one, and roll this. Look for where part it roll up and we don't unroll it. So you have to get a pin. Me get a pin. Let me look for a big pin. And sometimes you have to look for the thread where it a hole like where the thread is, and you just put the pin through and you bring the thread out. So you bring that thread out like that, and we tie in this in place. So you tie that. Tie in this. Tie in. Tie. Or sometimes you can tie it like this. Sometimes I like tying it like this because it's more faster. You can tie it anyhow you want, but the best way is how I show you first. If your thread short, you just do it like this. Just do it. There's 2 ways you can do it, but I prefer it the other way. When you're done, you cut your thread. Get the top one, and we're doing the same thing to the top one. Tie it off 3 times to 4 times. I do my own 4, so I know it's secure. You cut that. You do the same thing to the other one. You have 2 more threads to tie here. So you tie this. We tying all the darts in place. Cut your thread. Get the bottom one. Do the same thing. Tie it. Cut your thread. Now we gotta press these darts. So let me get my iron and my ironing board. Let me show you how you're pressing this dart. So I have a little ironing board here. I'm going to go and get my iron, and I'm going to press this dart in place for you. Let me get my iron. So I have my iron here, and now I have my roll hem here. So I'm going to use one of this to press my dart. So I'm going to bring this down here. And I'm going to take, the reason why I'm using this is because I don't want my marking to go over to the top, which I will show you just now what would happen if I don't use this. So I'm going to take my my roll hem, place my dart under it, and now I'm going to press my dart to the center of the top. You're not pressing it to the side of the top. You're pressing it to the center so it could lie down flat. Now I'm going to press and pull the fabric while you're pressing it. Make sure you get the dart to the center there. Press it. So your dart would lie down flat like this, and it would look neat like this over the next side. Now let me show you what would happen if I don't use this tool. So let's say I move this tool, I didn't have this tool, and I'm going to press my dart. You will see the difference. Let me cut this thread while I tie the dart off here. So I press in my dart to the center of my top, and I'm going to, without the tool, I'm going to use it. And I'm going to fold that. Okay. You see the difference between pressing it with the tool and the difference with pressing it without the tool? Which one you see look neater? This one here, press very straight and neat, whereas this one here, if you look at it, look at the difference. This one here, this one here got a kind of slant, while this one here press neat. So you see the big difference in it. So I'm going to use my top. So you see the difference? Because the fabric keep where I press the dart, it go on to the other side of the right side of the fabric, which I don't want that. I don't need my dart to be printing through there. So I will use my tool and press it back. So I'm going to place my tool under. I need it to be neat, and I'm going to press it back. I'm going to press this one over too. So my top would be neat. Like that. I'm going to press it on the right side. Always press your dart to the center or the top. If you have fabric that does shine, look for a piece of cloth and put over the fabric and press it like a piece of pressing cloth. If you know you're using a fabric that's shining, you cannot press it with a bare iron. My iron have a shield, so I could use that. I'm going to press that. You don't have to press out the whole top like this. It's just the dart. But I like my thing to be neat. So you'll always see me pressing my clothes. Doesn't matter, I just press my clothes. Every time I stitch a seam, I press it. So it would be very neat. Now I'm going to place this here. Put it on for you guys so you guys can see what the back look like. Let me just get 2 pins. I'm going to put that on the back. This is the back of the top. So when you put that like that, you see how neat the back of the top come and sit down on the mannequin. So you have a neat top right here. So I'm going to pin that. The dart is to shape the fabric. That's why many clothes have dart inside, because it's to shape the fabric. Now we're going to get the front one and we're going to press it the same way. Press the dart to the front of the top, the center of the top, not to the end. I'm pressing it to the center of the top. So I'm going to place my tool under it. The next one. Turn it over, give it a good press too. And now this is the front or the top. I like to press mines. I'm pressing it to show you how neat it would look. So this would be the front or the top. So when you finish, you have a neat, nice top. Let me get 2 pins and just show you. So when you pin this together, your top would be like this. This would be your top, it would look like, right? This is what the top would look like. Now, to get in this top, remember we add 2 inches to the waistline or the top. Remember when we do the top, we get the waist measurement, we divide it by 4. Remember we divided by 4 and then we add 2 inches to it. That was for the dart. We added 2 inches for the dart, right? We add 34. We work with a 34 waist measurement. We divide that by 4, and then we add 2 inches to that measurement because 1 inches for the dart, the 1/2 inch each, and then we put 1/2 inch for the seam line. Now the next 1/2 inch, what I'm going to show you what to do to get in this top because you must get in the top. Right? So I like to do my own this way. I feel more better doing it this way. So I'm going to take my back of my top and I'm going to fold it on the wrong side. Right? I fold it to the wrong side. Make sure the 2 arm hole matching up. I'm going to pin that. I'm going to pin this. And I'm going to split down the middle of my back of my top. That's to put my zipper inside. I love doing it this way. It's more better for me. So I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut it like this. Because I have seam allowance already for this. If you want, you can just measure 1 inch at the back of the top and you put it in. Well, my inch already in here because I cut on a fold. When you cutting it on a fold, you have an extra inch of fabric there. So I cut mine. Here you go, Ezra. Right. So now I end up with 2 pieces of the back. Like this. I end up with 2 pieces. Now my back, I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to place the 2 pieces back together. Like that. And I'm going to get a zipper. I'm going to get a zipper. We just get a zip. It depends on how long you want your zipper, and you can place it in the back of the top. I don't want my zipper too long. I don't like too much a long zipper down at the back of my top. I just need just to get in my top. Let's see which other long one I have. I'm going to use the short one. It's just for your neck pass over your top, or if you want, you can put a longer one. You can put a long. Let's put a longer one so you can get more room for your top. So get your zipper, place it here. See how long it is. Get a chalk. Mark how far the zipper is. That's there. Get a ruler. I do with my rule. And I'm going to mark this down. See where I put the line? You mark that. And now I'm going to get my zipper. Get one piece at the top. Like that. We're going to pin this stop in place. Let me get the pins. So I'm going to pin the top. Pin it. Pin right where we leave that marking. And now we'll go down and pin the bottom. You must leave allowance for this back to get a zipper in. So that's why I add 2 inches to my my measurement. If you are a little bigger, you can add 3 inches for accommodate the zipper. Now, what we're gonna do, you know, got a sewing machine and we run a base stitch. We run in a base stitch. That is the slackest stitch on your machine. Run a base stitch straight down here to this blue line that we mark right here, and then we're gonna go back and get a regular stitch to stitch down here. That is to hold the bottom of the top. So let me show you. Just move that aside and let me show you. So I'm going to go to the longest stitch on my machine. I'm going to go to the longest stitch. I'm going to turn here and I'm going to take my top. Now I need 1/2 inch of that measurement, right? So I'm going to take my ruler. My ruler have 1/2 inch on it. I'm going to take my rule and I'm going to measure 1/2 inch down because I need the base stitch to be 1/2 inch. So my rule have 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take my rule, try to find 1/2 inch on my top, 1/2 to 3/4 inches. I'm going to take 3/4 inches. The reason why it's going to give me enough room for the zipper. So take 3/4 inches. Make sure you left the allowance when you draft in the top for the zipper. So I'm going to measure down 3/4 inches in, 3/4 inches in, up to the marking that I do, right? To measure that down, straight down. So let me show you now. So this line here to this marking, so from the top of your top to this blue marking, we're going to do a base stitch on that way down that line. And from this line here to the bottom here, we're going to do a regular stitch to hold it up. The base stitches, so we have to loose it out back to put a zipper. So you get your sewing machine. And I'm going to stitch the base stitch first. Put it under my machine. I'm going to give a little back stitch in the top of the base stitch because I want it to hold, but not nothing big. Now I'm going to stitch a base stitch. I'm going to pull my thread while I'm sewing it. out my pins. Now when I reach the mark with a zipper stop, I'm going to go back to a regular stitch with this 4 on my machine. And now I'm going to back stitch from this marking. So I'm going to back stitch from that marking, take out my pins. And I'm going down to my regular stitch and I'm going to sew this stuff. Now we are not base stitching down here, we're stitching this. This is the permanent stitch. When you meet the bottom of the top, back stitch. And you take it out. So now, what we're going to do, put that machine aside. We're going to press this seam open. So you see, this is what your seam will look like. Right? So from this blue, from the blue here is where we base stitch right up to the top of the top. So from the blue here go down, we do a permanent stitch. So this stitch is not coming out. Only this one here from this blue mark here we will take out. So we're going to press this open. So you open that like that. Get your tool, place it under, and open this seam. Now I'm going to press my seam open. Press your seam open. Right, so now I press my seam open. So this, what my seam would look like. Press open. Now what we're gonna do, let me just move this ironing board so you guys can see properly. Let me move this out. So we're gonna take this top here, and what we press open here, see on these two lines that we press open the seam, we're gonna put the metal of the zipper in the middle of this seam, and we pin in the end of the zipper on these two seam line right here. So we're gonna do it like this. You see, the best option for you guys. So I get my zipper. This is my zipper. This how the zipper zipping down, like this, like that. So the head of the zipper gonna be down on the top. So you get that, turn it, place it, make sure the metal part of the zipper align with the seam line, right? So get your pins, and we take in one seam allowance and pin it to one end of the zipper. So you take one seam allowance and you pin in the zipper to the seam allowance only. So I'm not pinning on the top, I pinning on the seam allowance. I'm going to show you when I finish. Get the next side, turn it up, get in the next side, and we pin it on the seam allowance only. So now I finished pinning this. This is what it looked like. Now if you look at the top, I didn't pin anything on my top, right? So I can move my zipper out. It didn't go on the top. I pin it on the seam allowance, the piece that we sewed together, the back opening on the seam allowance. That's what I pin the top on. So you are not seeing any pin on my top, right? You're not seeing no pin on my top. It's on this, where you're seeing the pin is on the seam allowance right here. So I pin the seam allowance. You could use an invisible zipper and you do the same method that I did here. So the invisible zipper, you do it with the same method, right? The same method I show you here, you could do it with an invisible zipper. You still pin it to the seam allowance and you'll stitch it the same way. So this is a regular zipper, but the invisible zipper doing the same way. So let me get my zipper foot. So I have a regular zipper foot here. This is what a zipper foot look like. Now my own is left side and right side. So I could stitch any side of my zipper once I have this zipper foot. So I'm going to change my regular foot. Change my regular foot. And I'm going to place my zipper foot on my machine. I'm going to place my zipper foot on. And I'm going to sew my zipper in place now. So you can do it with your invisible zipper, but you have to get an invisible zipper foot to do it with the invisible. I'll show you what an invisible zipper foot look like just now. So now, you get one end of the seam allowance, which end you comfortable with. I would start it from the bottom. One end of the seam allowance here. We stitching the seam allowance only. One end and we sewing down the zipper on the seam allowance. So I'll place this under my sewing machine. And I will place my needle very close to my teeth of my zipper. I'm not stitching over my zipper teeth. I'm stitching it very close to it. And now I would put my needle down in the fabric, the seam allowance, and I will begin sewing this in place. So I'll take out my pins, back stitch. We only stitching on the seam allowance. My top is at the left of me, so I'm not sewing down my top. I sewing down the zipper only. My fabric stick under here, so I have to take out that a little. My fabric go and stick in the feed dog. So now I will restitch that. Let me just remove this stitch, and now I'll go back and I'll restitch it on the seam allowance. Stitch as close as ever to the zipper. Close as ever to the zipper. You want to stitch it close. Take out your pins as you go. Make sure your top is not under the needle. Now when you reach into the top of the zipper, we need to get the zipper out of the way. So I like to slide my zipper down, raise my presser foot, keep my needle in my fabric, and I would slide my zipper, open my zipper then. I would open my zipper like that. Sometimes you have to take your needle out. So I would open my zipper. So if you have to pull it out from the machine for open your zipper, pull it out, because you don't want to stitch on your arm. You don't want to break your needle. So you open out your zipper like that. So I want to open out mine. So I open out my zipper. So now I'm going to place that back under, seeing that my zipper open out. And now you will come back and stitch this in place. Make sure your needle thread there under the needle. Come back, put your needle back down. And now we're gonna bring this right to the seam or the arm that we sew, and we're gonna stitch this in place. Back stitch when you reach the end. Take out. So this what your zipper would be stitched on the seam line only, not on the top. So now we're gonna stitch the next side of the zipper. Place it under your machine. Make sure the two stopper matching up. If the stopper is not matching up, loose out your pin and pin it back. You need the two stopper to match up, so you don't want it to be long and short. So pin it back if you have to. Put it under the machine. Put your needle down, and now we're gonna sew. Back stitch. Now I come into my zipper, so I'm gonna move my zipper back up. Raise my pressure foot. Move up back my zipper out of the way. So I'm going to pull my zipper back up because I don't want my zipper to break my needle. So now I'm going to continue sewing. Back stitch, and now my zipper finish. So now I'm going to move this aside. I'm going to put on back my regular foot. This is my regular foot. Get my regular foot, put it on back. Let's move that aside. And now, we're going to cut our thread. Gotta press this zipper open. So I'll get my pressing tool, rest it here. And I'm going to press that. So when you done stitch your zipper, it's supposed to look like this. Now I'm going to open this zipper. You're going to get your seam ripper, this, and the base thread, the base stitch that we put from the beginning of the top. We're going to open that like this. Now mindful that you don't rip your top. We just opening the thread, the base stitch that we put. Mind that you don't cut your top. You have to be very careful with this tool because it's very sharp. Opening it. When you meet the stop, you would know. So I have a marking here to show me where I need to stop opening. So when you meet that, you will know when you meet that. So now, I love to see my zipper. That's why I sew my own like that. So now I'm going to remove this thread, get my ironing board. You need to press everything. Any seam that you sew, you need to press it. That's the only way your clothes will look neat. You need to press any seam that you stitch. Anytime you stitch a seam, press it. That's the only way your clothes would look professional. You must press any seam that you sew. So I'm going to cut my thread, remove all these thread here. Get my tool. I'm going to place it under. And I'm going to press that zipper. And this, what your zipper would look like after you finish pressing it. Now I will remove them thread later, but this is what you should have. So press the seam, open it. I like to turn my zipper over, and I like to give it a press. So my clothes would always look neat. So this, what you should have. This is what the zipper should look like. You see? So you can go up, you can go into your top. So this is what your zipper will look like. So now we're gonna put this top together, right? We're gonna put this top together. But before we stitch this top together, arm to arm, I wanna hem this top. We can do it with the, you could make facing for it, or you can hem it just like that. If you wanna hem it like that, you just go ahead and you fold in 1/2 inch from the top here, fold 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch again, and you pin it. Pin that. Keep folding in 1/2 inch. This is a quick tap. Fold it in like that. And you pin it. Do the same thing here. Fold in. Pin. Fold in. I prefer do it this way before I stitch the top together. The reason why I have more control over the curve edge when I do it this way than stitching the top together and then try to stitch in the armhole. Sometimes the curve end does give you a problem. So you see, when I do it this way, I have more control over it. So when I'm ready now, I will stitch this top together. So you pin that. You do the same thing to the top, because remember the zipper now have an extra piece. So you can fold it in like this and you can pin that. I will show you why when we get to that. So now I'm going to do this quick top. I'm not putting any facing. I'm just stitching this in quick and easy. This is just an easy going top. If you want something quick, you want to knock up a top quick for run down the road, for running tongue or some way, you do that. Fold 1/2 inch and then you fold 1/2 inch again. So you will have a neat edge. We won't have any raw edge. Fold and then fold 1/2 inch in again. Fold 1/2 inch in again. Make sure it's neat. If you have to go back and repin it, make sure it's neat. You need your top to be neat. And now your armhole already done pin in neat. Now we're gonna pin the neck. So I have, this is the zipper come up here. I have an extra piece or zipper before you meet the stopper. So right at the extra piece, I'm going to fold in like a 1/4 inch and then fold a next 1/4 inch in, so it would be neat. And then I would come down and I would pin the back of the top, that is the neck. I'll pin this in place. Sometimes this thing does be tricky, but you have to know, once you like sewing, you're going to get anything in order. You have to make yourself comfortable. Pin 1/4 inch and then a next 1/4 again for make it the 1/2 inch. Pin. We are not sewing, we're leaving the shoulder open. Then you stitch that, you pin that. So this is what your neck would look like. See the zipper there right up? You're doing the same thing for the next one. Fold 1/4 inch in, and then a next 1/4 inch you make it neat. And then you do the same thing for the back. We pinning. Pin. So it's the back neckline now we knitting in. It's just a thin folding we folding in. We folding in no big 1 inch and all them thing, because you have to work with the curve or the top. If you work against the curve, you would never get it for pin. You have to work with the curve. Don't work against the curve, because you won't get it to lie down and it won't stay down. You'd have problem pinning it like that. So work with the curve or the top. The top would give you the direction in which it want to go to. So it's just a thin folding in. And you pin it, and this is what it will look like. So now we're going to do the front. Get the front. This is the front neckline. So we're going to start from one end, fold in 1/2 inch, and then we fold 1/2 inch in again. Same thing. Work with the curve. Don't work against the curve, or else you'll get problem to fold that in. Fold in. We fold in just a thin 1/2 inch. Fold. We made the curve, so we have to work with the curve or the neckline. So you could lie down flat. So work with the curve, don't work against the curve. Follow the curve. The curve gonna give you the direction it want to go in. So you follow that curve. The curve don't need much. Pin. Same thing, come leave that end there and come to this end here now. So you come to the other end, you pin. Once you know you're pinning and you see you're getting problem for continue pinning, leave that one that you're getting problem and come and repin by a next section. So by the time you meet to that one, it's gonna lie down flat. Don't force to pin it if you know you ain't getting for pin it properly. Leave it, and then you'll come back to it. Pin something else like what I do here, and now I would get it flat. Pinning it, and now my curve would come and lie down flat here. So sometimes you have to work with the curve. Sometimes you have to leave it and then come back to it. Sometimes you have to repin it. Depends. I will take this pin out right at the curve and just come back and pin that back there. Pin that. Get it to see how it come and it lie down flat. So you have to working with the curve. Because this is a curved line, so you will get trouble pinning it, so leave it and go back. So when you stitch it, it will be neat and nice. So now we're going to work with the armhole. You do the same thing. You're working with the curve, not against the curve. Pin. 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch again. So the front armhole curve I'm pinning here for knitting it. The same thing. This is an easy top. Pin. We pin the next side, and then we'll go and stitch this top together. I prefer do it this way. I don't wait till I don't stitch up the top. The only time I do this, I would do it the other ways. Like if I put in a sleeve on, I would stitch the top up together first and then work with the facing or the sleeve. But for doing this quick one, I prefer doing it this way because the curve lie better than when you stitch everything together and then you're fighting against the curve to stitch in the line. Make sure everything even. You don't want one armhole smaller than one. Pin it. So now we will go and we will stitch this and then we'll come and press it. So we will stitch this. So I'll move this for now. Bring my machine. Get one at the top. And now we're going to stitch the armhole first. Place your needle down. We're stitching right at the edge of where we fold in. Remove my pin. And now I do this with a regular stitch. Back stitch. With the end your back stitch. Raise your needle, take out. So your stitch gonna look like this. I'm doing it with this thread so you guys can see your stitch gonna look like that. Knit. This is the inside of the top, the wrong side. This is the right side. So now we're going to stitch the neckline. So we have our neckline in place. Take out your pins, back stitch. Pull it, make sure your neckline lie down flat. Work with the curve. If you have to turn it and work with the curve of the neckline. Because remember, it's wrong a curve we're going, so you have to work with the curve of the neckline. We're working with the curve, not against it. So you have to turn and push with this curve neckline, because you want it to be neat when you're done. So take your time, go around, remove your pin, and keep the neckline curved. So you take it piece by piece, because this is a curve we're working with. If you find, well, you're stitching and you have some, like the fabric coming up, have a little gather, get your seam ripper and just hold it down and you stitch. So when you're done, you won't have any gather. Hold it down, like this. You gotta know all them little tricks when it comes to sewing these things. Back stitch. You take this out. And now your neckline would look like this, neat and nice. So now we're gonna stitch the other armhole. My thread hook. So I'm going to start that over because my thread hook. Back stitch. Remove your thread. now we're gonna stitch the other top. We're gonna clean up our thread just now, but let's stitch this one. We're stitching this one the same way. Let me see, I find like my bobbin get a little slack. Let me make sure it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Put my needle down. Stitch. Back stitch. Stitch, take it out. So we're gonna stitch our next arm. Stitch. So now we're going to stitch our neckline. Make sure it lie down flat. Make sure your neckline flat and nice. If you have to remove your pin and pin back, remove it and pin it back flat and nice. We need it flat. Now we have to move the zipper out of the way. You're not stitching over your zipper, you're just giving it a little ease. Back stitch, take out. So you stitch your neck gonna look like this. So now one more stitching we have is the neck. The back neckline, so we'll go and we will stitch that. Put your needle down. Back stitch. Back stitch. So we clean up our thread. So when you're done, your back supposed to look something like this, very neat and nice. It's just a slim something. So now we're gonna stitch these two together. We can press this after. We're supposed to press this neck first, but we will press it after. So you're gonna clean up your thread. Clean up all your thread. Make sure all your thread clean up neat and nice, both from the front and from the back. So let me press it first, because I find when you press it first, you get it lie down more flat. So I'll get my iron. Now we'll press this down. Press the front. Now I need my tool for my curve around the neck. I'll get that. And I would walk the curve around my tool so it could be neat and nice. Get the back. I'll remove those threads after. All my thread I would remove it after. So now we will get our top. This is the back of the top. We'll get the front. We'll lay it down like this, and we take the back and place it over this. So now we come in and stitch these two shoulder line in place. So you pin, get the next one. Pin the shoulder line in place. And we're gonna pin the side top, the side of the top, matching up the two armhole. Pin the next side. So you pin that. So now we're gonna sew this in place. So get your machine. And we sew in this. So I grab from the bottom of my top, place it under my machine, and 1/2 inch seam allowance I sew in. I'll be sewing 1/2 inch, and I'll be back stitching at my arm end. So I back stitch. Take out your pins. Back stitch right with the armhole. Back stitch. Cut. We stitch in the other end the same way. Grab the other end. Back stitch. Stitch the shoulder the same way. Back stitch. Make sure under here is smooth and nice. shoulder the same way. Half inch. Take out the pins. Let me just get my pins out. Just fix this thread. Back stitch. Now what we're going to do, now you're going to fold up your seam allowance like that. If you have a serger, go and knit in the end. So now what we're going to do, we're going to fold up. Place your seam to the back of the top, and you're going to fold up 1 inch. So I'm going to fold ½ inch in first, and then the next ½ inch, and then I'm going to pin. Measure, make sure you measure. I know why it's ½ inch, so I would know when it's not ½ inch and when it's not. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's to the back of the top. Fold in ½ inch. Then I'm going to fold half again. And now I'm going to pin. I'm going to pin that. I'm going to come and fold. Make sure you measure. I know what ½ inch look like, so I don't have to measure. Fold in. You can do 1 inch if you want. You fold in the raw edge and then you fold again. So let's say we're doing 1 inch in this. So you fold in the ½ inch and then you fold again. Do the same thing right away around. Eventually, why I pin the 2 side seam first, because eventually it does end up folding for itself. So you see my own just come and fold in neat for itself, just like that. So I'm going to pin. And I'm going to pin. Pin. So I'm going to lose that a little, bring this out a little, like that. So I end up making it 1 inch wide. So my folding end up doing 1 inch, I end up making it 1 inch. We'll continue doing it the same way. The seam line in the back, fold in, and then you pin it in. Make sure you line up your seam in the back. So I always pin the seam first because it end up coming and lie down flat, and it does end up giving the right measurement. Fold in. Bring it out your measurement, make sure it's okay. Bring this one out. Fold that. And now we're going to go and we're going to stitch. So we'll fix this one back to the full inch. Make sure your seam match up. Bring that one out. Adjust this pin. And now we will go and we will stitch this in place. So let me just fix this, adjust that. So now we're going to stitch right away around this top. So put your top under your sewing machine and we stitch into the end. Hold your thread in the back. Back stitch, and we continue sewing. getting a piece of gather, so I will take my seam ripper and I will just hold my fabric down like this. My thread go into my machine, so I have to get that out. So I will cut back this thread because I don't want all this thread in the back of my top. So I will take that thread out and I would start over. So if you're on stick, take the thread out from there because you need your stitching to be neat. Pull your thread back, raise your needle, get your thread at the back of your machine, place it down back, right in the stitch, and then you continue. They give a little back stitch, not much, and you continue sewing. If you're a beginner, you won't stitch straight on your first try, because on my first try I didn't stitch straight at all. My bobbin thread done. So all that you have to look for, make sure your bobbin thread in finished. So my bobbin thread finished, so let me just get a thread and just place it. My bobbin thread finished, so I will get a thread and I will just place it into my machine. So let me just get one. So I have to get the same bobbin like I take out of there. So this is a different color thread. So I would place that in there. So you have to look for see when your bobbin thread finish. So now go back where you left off. You have to pin back. If you want, you can pin back, but I can handle that. Pick up your needle, your bobbin thread in the back. Put your needle down back. Back stitch, and you continue. Keep folding in because I did already take out my pins. You keep folding. You see my pins you already take out, so I won't pin it back. Lift up and make sure you're getting a neat stitch. Take out your pins. When you meet that part, you stop. You start from back stitch, pull your thread out, and now your top finish. Now we're gonna press this top. So we have some thread here. I'm going to trim my seam allowance a little piece, like a 1/4 inch. Trim it a little piece. If you have a sword, you go and neaten the edge or zigzag it on your sewing machine. I'm going to turn this over like that. I stitch it with this thread so you guys can see. Whatever thread you're using for your fabric, use it for your your fabric. Don't use the same thread I am using. So now for the hem, you just place your hem down. I like to press my hem on the right side of the top. Make sure you clean out all your thread. You would do your top neater than mine because I had to stand up to sew mine. So go ahead and make sure, and if you do make any, you have the I have the beginners sewing course, the page on Facebook. Post it on the beginner sewing page. You will see it. Just type in beginner sewing course and it would come up right on Facebook. If you do, and that page that I designed is so people who sew things, who I teach them to sew things, to post it on that page. So your top would look neat like that. So this is what your top would look like. I will put it on. Let me just give it one more press. We just raise this, push this under here. I won't clean out my thread later. I won't clean out my thread now because that would take more time. So later on I would clean all my thread out. The zipper, step, press it down flat and nice. So here you have your top. Later on, I can clean this out. So now I'm going to put this on the dress form, let you see what it look like. So I open my zipper. I'm going to put this on here. And this is the finished look of the top. So this is what the back of the top look like with the zipper. This is the front of the top. This is what the front look like. So here you have your finished look of the top. The side, everything neat, match up very neat. You need that. You need to match up your side neat. Your zipper need to be flat. When you see I don't have any bulk like. And this next thing I'm going to teach y'all is how to get y'all back, because you know sometimes when you sew clothes or you buy clothes, you have a lot of fabric. You never see people back like this in tongue. The zipper always be like this, like pouching up, and next time I will show you how to get that out. So this, so you see my top sit down flat. It didn't have no bulk in the back. It is not too big. It fit perfect. You see the curve, how I shape myself. It curved very neat. The dart right under the bust line, the dart's very neat. So that's the reason for tying the dart. So you see it very neat. You have a neat, nice neckline. You have a neat armhole curve. The bar dart in the back, very neat. Your hem, very neat. So you see, where I want my top to sit, I get it right here to sit. So that's why I didn't add no allowance to the bottom of the top. I just use my hip measurement from here to here, the 9 inches, and I turn up 1 inch, and that's how come I get my top to sit right here. I don't like my top sitting all down here. So this is what your finished top look like. I'll be making a band for the top because I just like to tie in my waist. I like my my top with a band. So I gonna have a piece. I can see if I get a piece of fabric I gonna make a band for this. I love tying my waist. I gonna make a nice band for my top to go with it. So I hope you enjoy this class, and this is your finished look. I'll be posting this top. I will put it on and post it on my blog. As I said, go to tomorrowfashionstyle.web. My jumpsuit is there that you see I put up. You get the back, you get everything about the jumpsuit. This top will be posting on the blog too, and on the blog page at tomorrowfashionstyle.web. It have other style, other dress where you didn't see on Facebook. It had other style there. You would see the matching whatever, everything you need to know about the outfit, the bag, the shoes and things on tomorrowfashionstyle.web. Now, I have a legging class coming out, but that legging class going on to my page that I have the sewing course that I have going on online at Sewing with Tamara Think Fit. I have a legging class coming out soon, and that would be there. The classes would be like $13.95 for the classes, and that classes would be for 1 month. So I do the legging classes already. Let me just give you a glimpse of what the leggings look like. And this is the best fitting leggings I ever make. So let me just show you what it look like on. I want to slide this mannequin so you can see it. Let me just take this off, and I will show you the leggings that I do the classes in, because sometimes you purchase leggings in town and you never get a leggings to fit you. It's either the back too low or it too tight. So I make this leggings. I filmed the classes already. I'm going to make a top for it so you guys would get the whole classes for $13.99. For 1 month you will get to sew the leggings and the top. So let me just pull this mannequin a little. Let me pull her. Let me pull her aside here. Now I'm going to put this leggings on. This is the classes I have online right now. I'm going to put this leggings on. Just how the leggings fit this mannequin, it's going to fit me. Just get it up on her. I don't like my leggings low. Let me just show you. So my leggings is the high waist leggings that you will be making in the classes. So when you sit down, you won't see anything. Let me bring Shimo in front. You won't see anything. Your leggings won't have no gap like in it. You know, when you buy some leggings, it kind of big under here. No, this is the classes that I bringing out. This is what the leggings look like. You see how neat and how high the waist is. So when you put on your leggings and you sit down, you won't see the V in your back. The leggings waist come high. So just how it fit this mannequin, that's how it would fit me, because I pad my mannequin for my body measurement. So this is my leggings class coming out with the top for the leggings. So you would learn to make this leggings, and you'd learn to make a wonderful top to go with this leggings in the classes. The classes would be out next 2 weeks time on Sewing with Tamara at Think Fit, and that classes is $13.95 for 1 month. So if you want, you can sign up now. You don't have to buy any classes now, because this classes is not out yet till in 2 weeks. So go sign up at Sewing with Tamara Think Fit, and when this class come out, they would notify you, so you can sew this leggings to get a proper leggings to fit you, a high enough waist and a beautiful top for go with this. So when I finish with posting the class on Think Fit, I will take a picture out with this, put it on Facebook, put it on my blog page, and I will let you guys know when this class is out. So I'm happy to have all of you guys here, and thank you for watching this quick tutorial. and I really appreciate you. You guys share this video. You can share it. You guys doing a great job. You sharing my video a lot, and I really, really appreciate that. So I want to say big thumbs up to you guys, and go to the sewing class I have. Go to my blog page, sign up on my blog. You guys can leave comment on my blog. You can sign up, so any post I post, you will get notification of it. So I hope you enjoy this class, and next week I won't be online because I have a 3-day function. I have my convention coming up for 3 days starting from the Friday, so I won't be online next week. Sunday I'll be at my convention, so until the following week I'll be on, and I have a surprise to you on the following week. So share the video, sign up, go to my blog, go to Tamara Fashion, sewing with Tamara thinkfit.com, and we will get from there. So bye, and thanks for watching.